I would like to share a real sad experience that I had last night. In fact, I was even surprised to get up and find myself in bed because it was so real. And in the experience, Kelsey was calling me from South Africa, where she was doing some work there, and then Duane was in the bushes of Africa, where I remember we're climbing some very steep places and installing some things. We were trying to book a place, a hotel for you, something like that. It was, in fact, the whole night was in the green pastures of Africa. I don't know what country was that. It was so vivid, you know, that I was surprised to find get up and realize that I was in bed, you know. It's a very interesting wayside experience, and it shows what is going to happen. Kelsey always helps to wake me up, and in this dream she was calling me from South Africa. So very soon she'll be calling me from there. So it's very good. It's a very good experience. Then we find himself too in the greenery of Africa, the tropical rainforest there. So things are shaping up as the preparations are gearing up too. So that is my dream share for today.
Real fast here, Charles. Can everybody hear Charles okay? Is somebody that cannot hear him?
He's fine.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. Go ahead, Charles.
Okay, and there's this I want to talk about something, a tendency with our new friends in Africa, you know, some new friends, what I've discovered, you know, again, the church influence, which dictates that when we are together, it's not a bad idea to help one another. But in this kind of setting, there's this mentality that maybe it's a welfare system. You know, the churches have set up in such a way that people join the church in order to get help, in order to weather some storms in their lives, in order to have support when things are not going fine and all the like. So we should not be surprised when we have some messages asking for help, or things are not moving fine in my life. Please help me. Please do this and that. You know, and then there is another new friend who wrote. In fact, when I read the email, I was really laughing because it seemed to put me on a kind of high pedestal, where with a magic wand I could dispel his problems. So I was really laughing. I say, if this guy really knows what he's writing, he will not attempt this. He was laying bare all his problems, asking me how he can get out of the situation, and how could help him get out of it. In fact, that kind of godlike petition. See, so all I directed him to was to read the new books and do the new song at least twice a day, and let go of his attachment to his condition. Try to do something, to be proactive, do something good for himself and for others, and also reminded him that the new presentation is not a magic wand. In fact, you will need to put in something to get out something from it. See, so it was really a hectic week for me, reading these kinds of emails that were directed at me, asking for help, and trying to suggest that maybe I had the solution to the problem. Their problem. So very interesting. I don't know whether Duane also surely has this kind of petitions. I don't know what you can say about this.
Yes, thank you, Charles. Again, it's going to probably be a little lengthy here, but yes, we've all come through a lot in lifetimes and into this lifetime, and it has taken these establishments, political, religious, spiritual, educational, scientific, all this stuff, business world, corporations, it's taken a long time to develop. And so we've come through all this. We carry all this within us, and this is a reference to us consciously and unconsciously. It's huge, what we've created in creation, and most of it is not seen. It's not just what we see on the surface. It's not just the outside world. It's what we carry with us. That's the biggie. And this is, for the most part, really not seen. We just see, for the most part, we relate to the outside world and what's created. And just like, Paul created Eckankar as an example, and the governments created themselves and what's been established. And when you look at the United States as an example, it's not that old, 250 years old or something. It's not that old. It's very young, really. That's not many lifetimes compared to known history and then unknown history, the part they don't even tell you about, which goes back a whole long ways, hundreds of thousands into millions of years, whatever, on this planet and others. So, yeah, we carry a lot with us, and this is really what, again, is really not seen. People are just looking at what exists here now at the establishment, which is fine. It's all fine. It's just seeing what it is realistically and making sense of it, being practical and making sense of it. And yes, not with the magic wand, because again, we've grown up with the magic stories of Jesus and other saviors, and it's like, where are the miracles? Why doesn't things just poof happen? So what do people go to today? They go to the scientific, the scientific area. That's why they'll, go for GMO food, because it's like, oh, they've created perfect food. But all of a sudden come to find out, no, it's not what it seems. It's not at all. And so, because the reality of life is an isness. It is not according to our mind and our senses and whatever. Even though we experience it, it is not that, because that's the reflective nature of things. That's creation. And so again, people do not understand creation. And I'd like to say also that, as we continue to go on and we bring forth a new presentation with what it really is, it is the best reference in creation, but it's still not reality. It's not the true reality. What Paul created, because we work off of that, and what the guides, established here for a while, and then as soon as Paul left, realistically, he was done. After that, started the deception. And so it looks good, but it's not working. And the further we go along, the more deceptive all that becomes. That's how it works. But in most people's minds, they're thinking that, it's traditional, it's been around a long time, so, it's like wine, it ages, it gets better. Well, no. And even at a point, aging wine rottens. Everything does here. And so I also suggest that anybody reading Paul's stuff, throw it away. Throw it all away. Because there's restrictions in there. Those were the babysitting days. And Paul was referring to the spiritual past and all these things. Well, now these things are all totally infected. When Paul was here, he utilized that vehicle. Now it's in the junkyard. Okay, it doesn't work. Those pretty words don't work anymore. They are not a reference to the is. The is decides itself. Just like a family that lives in a house, and then all of a sudden they move to another house. And then, their friends will have their old address and mail cards and letters there, but guess what? They're just sitting on the ground. They go in the trash because they're not living there anymore. And the is isn't there anymore. It's not in any of that. Toss it all out, all of it. And so Paul's on the real side. Yes, he's still there, but the reference that he created is worthless now. It has all become basically worthless. And these people that have copied him, it's the same way. It's all become worthless. So what is the new position here? Yes, we're not political. We're not spiritual. We're not religious. We're not any of these things. But we do recognize and we do refer to these things, but not in the same mannerism. So the reality today is get involved, earn your way, get involved with the projects that we've created and earn your way. Otherwise, you're just going to be a stick in the mud, and you're going to be surprised when you go to the real side because you're still going to be lost. The boys are not going to be dragging you anywhere. That's just very real. So if you don't earn your way right now and get busy with it, you're going to miss the bus, and that'll be that. So I would say it's time to scare yourself. And that is that you've got to earn your way out of here, because there's no more babysitters. And just like Chris went through boot camp and he had to be the real soldier, etc., it's time to step up or don't. And the reason that so many people are still confused is they still hang on to the old ideas. They're still hanging on to more so their personal life than a real life, than establishing a real life within there and recognizing their real awareness. In Paul's time, it was basically astral projection and being babied along to just understand certain things. Now you have to step up. You have to recognize your real awareness, and you have to stand real and take part. Otherwise, no. You can sit here and listen, but if you do nothing, you get nothing. That's how it is. And so I suggest, just like what we're doing, I'm busy all the time with those people that have stepped up, and others just give excuses, is all they do. It's like, fine, well, that's your life. The end result will be, that's all you'll have. And just like in the workplace, when you go to work, do you sit there and give the boss excuses? Is that what you do? Well, that's all you get. Finally, they get rid of you. And the boys will put you aside. They will put you aside. Yes, they'll constantly give you hints now and then, but they'll just put you aside. And that's how it is. So each person has to figure this out for themselves. You've come through all these lifetimes to get to here, to have this. This is a privileged position. And I know people that attend the Skypes or whatever, and they haven't even contributed anything hardly. They haven't even contributed $1, one dime to support me, which I've done this for, it took me 45 years to get here. My whole life. This is my whole life here, to get here, to present this where no one else would. And they still think it's La La Land. And so giving them hints all the time, and they still don't get it. So, yeah, they're going to be surprised, and especially as things happen in this world, then they're going to be begging, just like Darwin came to me. I tried to contact Darwin in 2001 when I took the real position. Well, he didn't want to listen. He wouldn't even talk to me, and I knew Darwin. And I talked to his buddy there that took care of things, Paul Mashar, or whatever his name is, at Dunami, whatever it is. That's who I talked to. Never got a hold of Darwin physically because he's just too important to himself. This is how most people are. See, those people that really don't step up, they're just too important to themselves. And the real guys support each other. They demonstrate that. We support each other here. We step up, just like Miriam is doing. She's stepped up. Look what she's done. How many people will do that? Some people just attend the Skypes. That's all they do. They just sit and listen. And so, yeah, they need to wake up, Charles. And sometimes I'm a little bit like a drill sergeant, and I'm really trying to show people how to save their own lives. And many people just go away because, again, they're looking for something to where they can be babied, as they always have. Well, it's going to be a real wake-up, and that is you're going to have nothing. So, and that's just very, very real. You have to earn your way. You have to wake up. And they need to create projects, Charles. Anything at all, even the smallest thing. I suggest, and yes, I know that they don't have the funds and everything, but again, I've said it many times. They've got to get together right now and do something right now. I always made projects for myself. I always pushed myself into these things. I always push myself into them to where I have too much to do. And especially right now with everybody. You might say I bother everybody, but not realistically. But we've got the formula now with the new school and the university and the Vessel Project. And these are still in the idea stages, but they're set into motion. I see how gradually it's all filling in. It's kind of like with the pen, you do the drawing first with the pen and ink, and then eventually you color it in, like a by the numbers painting. Okay, so we're doing it by the numbers here. We're filling it in. And it's just very real. And I know that some people don't want to hear that. Well, sorry, that's how it is now. This is where the is focused. The is not focused on cute ideas. It's not focused on Rumi of the past, on Jesus, the teachings of Jesus, whatever. It's not concerned. Just like the people that move from one house to another, they're not thinking about their old house. And this is where we are. We're in the new and real position with the new presentation. It took me quite a while to figure this out, but here we are. And the projects make sense simply because they keep the focus. And the overall intent of what is being presented here is to take people step by step through the process of waking up, because the world needs a lot of help. It's not going to just go to the new books. I realized that a long time ago. I saw that, and I saw there's a big gap here, because again, I leaped from what Paul presented to the isness, and that's a huge leap. And so I'm filling in the gap here, is what I'm doing with all this. And it's working. It's verified on the real side. But some people just don't see it. Sorry, you're going to have to keep up or not. You're standing at the station, the bus is there, if you're just going to stand there and look at the bus, the bus driver is not going to pull you on the bus. You got to get on the bus. Otherwise, the bus is going to take off. That's just very, very real. And it's going to be gone, and you're going to be standing there. Most people, when they go to the real side after this, even if they know about this and do the new you and know the guides for the most part, they're not going to know what to do because they're not going to have prepared themselves. It takes a lot of preparation to do this. And yeah, the world's very confusing. The political system is not good. The air is being poisoned all the time. And we only have so much time left. Those people that, want to go on their little trips in their la-la land, go ahead, go have fun. Thing is that one day it's going to hit you, and it could be in the next 5 or 10 years, because this atmosphere is not going to last long. It's not up to me. It's being decided in the world every day. You got 5 to 10 billion vehicles out there, plus chemtrails, HARP, and everything else, smart meters and what have you. How long can we live in a radiation bath? The oceans are dying. It's like, what do people need to wake up? So the projects are very important. Someone has to mute. The projects are very...
King.
You cannot give the best out of you.
Mute, King.
You cannot give the best out of you.
Yeah, so you're going to have to kind of drill people if they really want to survive, and that's what it's about. It's really letting them know that, life here is about survival. It's not just, getting a new car, a new house, getting your TV, and all of a sudden, oh, gee, our lives all set up. Now we just buy our microwave dinners, and hey, life is bliss. You're in a prison camp, and you have a number, and at a certain point, your number's up. That's just very real. Sorry, this is the earth. This is how it is. And so in the meantime, we try to do something that makes sense with the world. But the world is what it is. It's not because I say so. The world has already decided itself. And people are agreeing for the most part. They're going along with the demise of this planet. This planet is in a huge demise. People can think, oh, it's getting better. I saw this ad on TV. Oh, gee, the grass is growing greener. Well, it's probably chemtrail grass. So the thing is, or GMO. And the thing is, no, the world is not a commercial. It's not about what people think. It's about what actually is happening. So over and over again, I'm going to relate this in this particular way because when it gets down to it, this is how it is. So people have to get busy to save their own lives. And the thing is that that's only step one. If it's only about you, then that's all there is. The reality of what we're presenting here is that those that are real, that step up and stand real, it's each person supports the other. This is what I've created here with everybody. We all support each other. It's a real community. And if someone wants to go off on their own little ideas, fine, go do it. But if you don't support us, then we don't realistically support you. So even people that attend the Skypes and whatever, doesn't mean they're with us, doesn't mean we're with them. So, it continually gets to be a step more and more and more. This is where people continually take what I'm presenting for granted. They really do. I see it. And so, it's a choice. I would say that, what Kelsey and Val and many people here are doing, certain people, they're demonstrating this all the time. We support each other. We stay in contact with each other. We have the projects that we're doing, and this is all verified by the boys on the real side, by the real guides, Rebazar, etc. He handles the real side, and this is what they're focused on. They're not focused on the La La Land thing. Oh, people want to do the new you and go meet Rebazar, and for what? So you can be all goo goo gaga. The thing is that the boys are very real. They're there just like a teacher in school, and that's it. Yes, you can bring an apple for the teacher, But if you're not doing your homework or doing something, the teacher really doesn't care. Probably just drop the apple in the trash can, okay? Probably wouldn't touch it because they see how you are. It's really time to wake up. And so as you step up, you'll start to see life will show you what's really going on. Get past yourself. And so, again, it's having the attitude where it's for everybody. Do something all the time for everybody. And then you're standing real with life. That's how it works. The sun shining in the sky demonstrates that very well. It shines for everybody, asks for nothing, and it just shines and shines and shines. So until you do the same thing, well, good luck. Then you have to deal with yourself. The creation of the personal self is a huge burden until you recognize really what it's for. And that is that it is just a vehicle that we created, like our car, to get us to a certain point, and then we let it go. We let go of these attitudes with this personal self. We get on with being real with the whole of life and what it is. And it is more so than the references that I create. So what we're doing here, these are just the steps to get into a better recognition of what the whole of life is, this isness. And it has nothing to do with the secondary stuff that's been created from the past that's become a burden. It's all become a burden now. And so yes, be a nice person, be a good person, all this stuff. And that's nice, but that's not going to get you anywhere. You can be the nicest person. You can be a good neighbor, but they're not going to let you on the bus unless you pay for the ticket. Yes, you can go to the ticket stand and say, oh, you know, I'm a nice person. You know, I mow my lawn and I wash my dishes and I wash my clothes, they're clean. But they're still not going to let you on until you've earned the money to pay for the ticket. That's very real. Wake up. Yes, so, and that's the fun part, really. We have a lot of fun. So yes, Charles, it breaks down to basically one thing. They need to get busy and stop complaining about this or that or looking for cures. Forget that, okay? If you need a cure, go to the doctor or whatever. Go to the drugstore, you know, buy some aspirin. Whatever it takes, whatever makes sense. But in the meantime, you got to deal with it. This is the earth. And, you know, again, people look for sound good things. They look for Harry to save them. They look for their church and Jesus and whatever. Hey, then if people make a statement and along those lines, I say, okay, have fun. Because it's not going to work. It's going to sound good for a while. It's not going to work. Here, you got to step up and do something. Or you don't. You're not a real person yet. You're just an attendee. You just attend things. And there's a difference. And it's like the people that are in the stadium and they're in the grandstands watching the game, and then there are the players on the field, which are very few. Very few players out there, like in a football game, you know, dealing with the offense, trying to get to the goal line. And that's us. Yes, we're working it every day. This is all we do. We're not in La La Land. We're taking it on. And so again, right now it's the projects. This is what the is focused on. And again, Kelsey's here and Claudie's there and Chris and Sam and Ava and I. We're demonstrating this all the time. And again, the Callum God and his agents and whatever. Yeah, there's going to be all kinds of negative stuff coming out. So be ready for it. Just focus on the projects, get a project going, and all of a sudden you'll see it's all baloney. You know, it's like a person that's in the workplace. They're so busy, they don't even have time to hear the baloney news that's on 6 o'clock news every day, because it's all baloney anyhow. So they don't even have time. They don't even know what's going on in the world because they're so focused on what they're doing. So you become so focused on doing something that's a benefit for everybody, that makes sense with the natural environment, with the new school, the university, the Vessel Project, whatever, going out there and sharing the new you in some way, that's what you make sense with. because overall that's going to save your life. And the bigger picture is then when you can get past that idea to where you do it for everyone and you're willing to face whatever it is. I've decided to face the world. I could have just done the books like Paul, but I've decided to face the world in every aspect at all, trying to warn the corporation and being criticized for that, thinking that I'm attacking them when I'm really trying to warn them. I'm trying to warn the world of what it's doing. And you know what? Most people don't want to hear it. And it's like, okay, so, creatively we create these other things to kind of sneak up on them. We create the new school and the university and the Vessel Project to sneak up on the world so that they can see what's going on. As they see what we're doing, all of a sudden they go, oh, gee, now I see this and now I see that. And so I was just talking to Kelsey last night. Chris, we're going to do some radio shows here. We're going to start on the 4th of July. We thought we'd do it on Independence Day. We're going to get some interviews with people, probably starting off with the vaccines and whatever, people coming up and telling their stories. And so we're going to, Ava and I will make up the flyer. And so we're going to start doing some radio shows on this because it relates to the homeschooling. And this is why many of the parents don't want, because the vaccine thing, and they're looking to make vaccine. I was looking at Waking Times. They're looking at to make it mandatory. It's going to get scarier, everybody. The One World Order wants everybody vaccinated and in a coma. Okay, are you ready for that? It's very real. A little at a time, they creep up to where people eventually, little at a time, they get them to accept this and all this lethal stuff. So we're going to start radio shows with people that have had situations with their children or their family with the vaccines and other things. We're going to do radio shows, Kelsey and Val, etc., and they're going to just tell their story. So we're going to start with that, and Kelsey's going to contact some of these people, some of these large organizations too. So we're going to start that on July 4th. So Ava and I are going to create the flyer for that, the image, and do these interviews. This is going to relate to the homeschool. This is going to, in our way, this is going to provide, an advertisement, you might say. In other words, for people to see us also out there. So, yeah, it's, again, Charles, it's the projects. You need to really get them to do the projects, and we see them with Miriam, which is great. But I would say after 6 months to a year, they should be, each one of them should be attempting to do their own new group, Skype new group or whatever, or if it's by phone or WhatsApp or whatever, something. They should be out there. That's what I did. Get out there, do it, face the world, get it, get it done. Because there is no la-la land here, and you can sit and complain and look for miracles and pray to the boys, but until you do it, it ain't going to happen. That's just how it is, and you're just going to get older and more confused. And again, this is where, what do people do? They go back to the corporation, and it's not going to work. You're just going to be tap-blind all over again, and it's going to get worse, because everybody out there is tap-blind. So, yeah, it just gets very, very real. But we're here. The world's lucky we're here, the few of us. We are here for the world. This is a privileged position. So, yes, yeah, that's it. And if you or Marion want to say something else, go ahead, Charles. Go ahead. Thank you for listening.